What's good, people? It's RFG. And after 4 years of my channel being terminated, my channel has been reinstated into YouTube. I believe the channel was reinstated on September 4th of this year. So for everyone who's just tuning in, for all the new subscribers, this channel was terminated on June 25th of 2021, which was well over 4 years ago. And for whatever reason, YouTube made the decision to reinstate this channel on September 4th of this year. Okay, now in the past 4 years, so much has changed. All right, going back to 2021. And when I take into consideration everything that's transpired with my life, with what's going on in the world and my experiences, right, in the past 4 years, so much has changed, ladies and gentlemen, from a lot of my ideologies, my beliefs, the amount of wisdom that I hold, you know what I'm saying? It has changed dramatically when I look at everything that transpired between 2021 and now. All right. Because when I first started on this spiritual enlightenment journey, I can say that I started out from a so-called pro-black perspective. All right. When I started on this spiritual journey, when I started on this quest for knowledge, and when I considered myself a truther, my viewpoint started out from a so-called pro-black viewpoint. All right. But, in the past 2 to 2.5 years, I've come to the conclusion and the realization that mulattoes are not black. All right. So one of the things I've learned and fully embraced in the past 4 years, especially in the past 2.5 years, is that we mulattoes are not black. And when I say mulatto, I'm speaking about the people who are either 50% black, 50% European, or 60%, 40% between black and European blood. All right. So mulattoes are anywhere between 50%, or 60%, 40% between black and European blood. This also goes for black and Arabic blood. This also goes for black and Arabic blood. Okay, those are also mulattoes. The people who are mixed 50%, 50% to 60%, 40% between black and Arab bloodlines. Those are also mulattoes. All right. And as far as I'm concerned, when I look into genetics, right, when I understand the full dynamics of human genetics and how that works and how that operates, I know for a fact that we mulattoes are not black. All right. And I also want to thank Kendrick Lamar, for doing everything that he did to expose, who he really was and what his agenda really was, because in the grand scheme of things, Kendrick Lamar only kickstarted, what's known as the Mulatto Awakening. Kendrick Lamar only kickstarted the Mulatto Awakening. All right. So let me go into more detail about this. Okay. So when you really want to understand what a mulatto actually is, a mulatto, or what you would call mixed race, right? Especially with mulattoes, we are genetic hybrids. All right. We are genetic hybrids. The mulatto is a genetic hybrid between so-called black and European genetics. All right. Now, when you look at a creature like a liger or a tigon, the liger or the tigon is a 50-50 hybrid between lion and tiger genetics. The liger and the tigon is a 50-50 merging. It's a 50%, 50% merging of tiger and lion genetics. And when you merge, two different species genetics together, 50%, 50% or 60%, 40%, you're going to have a genetic hybrid as your result. All right. So, this is shown when we look at the liger. It's shown when we look at the tigon. There are many other hybrid species, all right, in the animal kingdom and in the human genome as well. All right. So when we talk about mulattoes, right, we mulattoes were deceived into claiming blackness through something called the one drop rule. We mulattoes were deceived into claiming blackness, right, because of something called the one drop rule. And let me tell you how asinine the one drop rule is. The one drop rule states if you have 1% black blood, that makes you black. All right. This is what the pro-black sectors have been pushing for decades, that if you have one drop of black blood, you are black. Well, what I want the pro-black sector to explain to me, or what I want them to show me, all right, because I'm all about showing and proving, right? Forensic biological evidence. Show me one creature in nature that has only 1% of another creature's DNA, all right? But that 1% completely overshadows and outweighs the 99% of their DNA structure. Show me one creature in nature that has 1% of another species' DNA, and that 1% completely outweighs and overshadows the 99% of the rest of their DNA. Show me one European person on this planet who has 1% black DNA, but they look 100% black. Show me one European person on this planet who has 1% black DNA, but they look 100% black. If you can't show me one example of a European person with 1% black DNA who looks 100% black, if you can't show me that, then that means the one drop rule is fake. The one drop rule has to be genetically inaccurate. It has to be scientifically, biologically, genetically inaccurate. You understand what I'm saying? So if there's no European people or Arab people that have 1% black DNA, and it makes them look 100% black, all right? So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a European person or an Arab person that has 1% black DNA that has a phenotype that looks 100% black. Until we find that example in real life, all right? Until we find that, the one drop rule is false. The one drop rule is make-believe. The one drop rule is garbage, right? And according to my realization and my research, the one drop rule was used to merge mulattoes into blackness, all right? And this was done to take away mulatto culture, to take away mulatto identity, to take away mulatto accolades. You understand? So all of those accolades and all of our icons and all of our revolutionary leaders and all of our innovators can be sucked into blackness. You understand? Because what's going on in the black community is mulattoes are we're being sucked into blackness, and then we're being ostracized and outgrouped by blackness. So what's happening is we see the masses of black people that are picking and choosing which mulattoes that they want to claim black. They're picking and choosing which mulattoes that so-called qualify to be called black or not. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? They're in-grouping us and out-grouping us at will, and their rules, right, as it pertains to what makes you black and what makes you not black, the rules for that are changing by the day. You see what I'm saying? So they're picking and choosing who they want to be black, who they don't want to be black, based on the mindset of the mulatto man, or the mulatto person. If the mulatto person identifies as biracial or identifies as mulatto, and if the mulatto person doesn't, kiss Black America's ass, that mulatto is going to be outgrouped, and that mulatto is going to be ostracized, and that mulatto is going to be vilified in the eyes of Black America. All right. So that's what's going on. And that's what happened with the Drake and Kendrick Lamar situation. All right. You see what I'm saying? So after that, that should have been a very big wake up call for the mulattoes in America. But, you know me, I always research things very deeply, very thoroughly and very deeply. So, when I look at this from a genetic standpoint, if black genes were 100% dominant, mulattoes would look 100% black. Okay, so I'm gonna say that again. If black genes were 100% dominant, like the pro-black people say, if black genes were 100% dominant, when you lay down with a white person and produce a mulatto, that means the mulatto should look 100% black. All right? So we know that that's false. Everybody with half a brain in their head knows that that's false. So what happens is when a black person has a baby with an Arab person, or when a black person has a baby with a European person, their genetic offspring is going to be a human hybrid, all right, known as a mulatto. All right. And the pro-black sector makes it look like being a mulatto is a bad thing. All right. They make it look like being a mulatto is a bad thing. They say, oh no, you got that colonizer blood in you. You got the colonizer blood in you, man. You got the white man's blood in you, man. You got the cracker's blood in you, man. You got the Arab blood in you, man. See what I'm saying? They do that to try to shit on your confidence, to try to shit on your self-esteem. You see what I'm saying? They do that to try to make you think to try to make you think of yourself as less than. That's why they do that, all right? But guess what? When you do the research as far as genetics as it pertains to mulattoes, we mulattoes are the only people on the planet that receive the most positive, strongest alleles from our parents' genes. We mulattoes are the only people on the planet who receive all of the positive alleles from both of our parents. Okay? We mulattoes receive the most strongest positive alleles from our mother and the most positive, strongest alleles from our father's genetics and our mother's genetics. Now, the specific reason for that, I am unsure of at this time. I need to research deeper into this, but this has already been confirmed. This information has already been confirmed by independent geneticists. All right. And I'm going to be showing links, right, to back up these claims in the next video I put out. But that I have to put that out there, right, because that is very profound information. Mulattoes receive the most positive and the strongest alleles from our parents' genetics. And no other group on the planet can say that. So when you look at monoracials, right? When you look at monoracials, If two so-called black people get together and have a baby, that baby is not going to receive 99.9% the strongest alleles from both of their parents. When two white people get together and produce a child, that child is not going to have the strongest alleles from both of their parents. When two Asians get together and produce an offspring, that offspring is not going to receive the strongest alleles from their Asian parents. This only takes place with mulattoes. All right? You do the research, and guess what? ChatGPT, and AI are not going to give you the truth. ChatGPT and AI are not going to give you the truth. So if you want this truth, you're going to have to research the information from independent geneticists with their own books, with their own links, their own documented evidence, their own experiments, their own verifiable experiments, their own forensic evidence, their own books. All right? Another thing about mulattoes, we mulattoes cannot receive bone marrow from our so-called black parents. We mulattoes cannot receive bone marrow from our black parents. We mulattoes cannot receive bone marrow from our white parents. We mulattoes can only receive bone marrow from other mulattoes. That's a fact. All right. Now, when you go on ChatGPT and AI, they're going to tell you that that's false. They're going to tell you that that information is not true. But shit, if it's not true, why is it a fact that mulattoes cannot receive bone marrow from our black parents and we can't receive bone marrow from our white parents? So what's going on here? That tells me that we are not so-called black. We are not so-called white. We are our own specific, unique, independent genetic group. We are our own independent, unique, specific genetic group. All right. And you know, this message is for the mulatto men out there. We got to pull our head out of our asses, man. We got to pull our head out of our asses. We have to stop being fourth-class citizens in Black America. All right? Black America has ostracized us. Black America has slapped us in the face. Black America has vilified us. Black America, really has nothing to offer us in the grand scheme of things. And, the way they have it set up is, mulatto men are fourth-class citizens in Black America, not second class, not third class. Mulatto men are fourth-class citizens in Black America. All right. So now that I'm giving you this information about, the genetic truth, the actual genetic truth, because genetics doesn't lie. Genetics doesn't lie. That's the language of God. Genetics and math are the languages of God. So I just gave you mulatto men the language of God, all right? Telling you that you're not black, telling you that you're not white, telling you that you are the 50% to 60%, 40% merging of both black and white genetics. And those black and white genetics in you are fully merged, all right? Fully merged and operating in synchronicity, operating in harmony, all right? We are both races fused together, simultaneously existing in harmony and in synchronicity. We are the merging of the alpha and the omega races. We mulattoes are the merging of the alpha and the omega races. Black Americans are the omega race. The so-called black race is the omega race. The Caucasian and Arab races are the alpha races. The Caucasian and the Arab races are the alpha races. The black races are the omega races. This is where you get your blood types. This is where the blood types come in. The blood type O is original. right? Those are the so-called black people of the world. That's the O, that's the omega, all right? That's, it's not, the omega really isn't the end. The omega is actually the beginning, right? But you know why? Because omega is O, 0 point. So the O on the Black Americans blood type, right? That O, that stands for omega, original. All right. Then you get the A. That's the Caucasian and the Arab genome, right? That's the alpha. Now, when I say alpha and omega, that means what frequency is that race of humans exuding mostly? What frequency is that race of humans exuding? All right. And I break this down on my Instagram. I break all this information down on my Instagram. All right. So-called Black Americans were originally matriarchal. Right now, they are known for being hive-minded. Most, not all, but most Black Americans are known for being hive-minded, emotional-based thinkers, and they're known for being reactive as opposed to being proactive. Most Black Americans are known for coming from a matriarchal empire, right? They are known for being hive-minded, emotional-based thinkers, and more so as reactors instead of being proactive. And I'm not speaking about every individual Black person. I'm speaking about them as a collective. All right. So when we study how Black America behaves as a collective, Black America is the omega race as a collective. All right. So when we go over to the Caucasian and the Arab races, all right, those races are patriarchal. The Caucasian and the Arab races. And they gave birth to type A blood type. And Caucasian and Arabs gave birth to type A blood type. All right. And those are your patriarchal races, right? Caucasian and Arab. And, when we look at, and I'm not speaking about them as, every individual. I'm just talking about when we look at the grand picture, the big giant picture of how the Caucasians and Arabs behave. All right. As a collective, they are patriarchal. They are logical based thinkers, and they are known for being proactive as opposed to being reactive. They are known for being proactive as opposed to being reactive. And they are more logical, practical based thinkers, and they are patriarchal. All right. So the Caucasian and Arab races are the alpha races. All right. So-called Black race, omega races. When they both merge their genetics, all right, you get the alpha omega. You get the alpha omega race. You get the alpha and omega race, which is the mulatto. And this is why in all honesty, in the past 60 years, I believe the mulattoes have caught more hell in the States than any other group. If you really want to get technical, all right? If you really want to get technical with this, in the past 60 years, I believe that mulatto men have caught the most hell in America. All right? Now you want me to go even deeper and get more specific? Let's do it. All right? In the corporate world, let's look at the corporate world. If you're a multi-billion-dollar or a multi-million-dollar corporation, you're going to hire dark to brown skin monoracial Black people before you hire a mulatto. You are going to hire a dark to brown skin monoracial Black person before you hire a mulatto person. You know why? That's going to make your company look less racist. When you hire dark to brown skinned monoracial people before you hire any other ethnic group. All right. So with that being said, everybody knows that, as long as everybody's qualified, and your company, they go after diversity, they're going to hire a dark to brown skinned monoracial person before they hire a mulatto person, especially a mulatto male. All right. This is a fact. This is a fact. All right. Also, our image, all right, as mulatto men has been completely distorted and tainted. All right. And, emasculated. All right. And, you can't name five to seven A-list actors in Hollywood right now that are mulatto men. And when I say this, I'm talking in the past 20 years. In the past 20 years, let's go back 20 years. In the past 20 years, you can't name me 5 A-list mulatto men actors. Name me five A-list mulatto men actors that are active in the past 20 years. That were featured in blockbuster movies, playing as the main character. Show me 5 mulatto A-list male actors in the past 20 years that were playing the main character role. You won't be able to do it. All right. You see what I'm saying? And then on top of that, show me one accolade or one possession that a mulatto man has that a monoracial, darker skinned man doesn't have. Show me one accolade or one so-called privilege or one possession that a mulatto man has in America that a darker skinned monoracial man doesn't have in America. Show me just one, right? You're going to bring up, Barack Obama. Okay, well, the first president of the U.S. corporation was actually John Hanson. The first president of the U.S. corporation was John Hanson, and John Hanson was a monoracial, dark-skinned black man. You see what I'm saying? And then on top of that, there are no mulatto billionaires. There are no mulatto billionaires in America. There might not be a mulatto billionaire in the world. You see what I'm saying? So Drake may be on track to be the first mulatto billionaire ever. Drake may be on track to be the first mulatto billionaire ever. So, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, there are no mulatto billionaires. There are no mulatto male A-list actors in the past 20 years that actually played main character roles. There's no accolade that we have that dark-skinned monoracial black men don't have. We get ostracized and, we get racism thrown at us the same way, brown to dark-skinned monoracial men get racism thrown at them. You see what I'm saying? We experience racism and bigotry from both sides. We experience it from monoracial whites. We experience it from monoracial so-called black people. We mulattoes experience hatred and racism from both sides, from both monoracial groups. You see what I'm saying? So how in the hell could someone tell us that we are privileged in the United States? How could someone be so ignorant and so out of touch and so under-researched and so delusional to say that mulatto men are privileged in the United States? We don't have any billionaires. We don't have any political representation. We don't have any institutions or any organizations that are looking out for our interests and our interests only. We don't have anybody in the mainstream that's really representing us in a positive way. You see what I'm saying? And then we're not even favored in the corporate world. So once again, you're going to have to tell me exactly how mulatto men are, have privilege in the United States. Because basically, I basically just debunked all of those notions. See what I'm saying? And then we have women, all right, specifically black women on dating shows, and every single one of them is getting on the dating show and they're disqualifying the men there simply for being light-skinned. So I'll repeat that. So there are dating shows, there are black dating shows where multiple brown to dark skin black women are stating that they will not date a man simply because of his light skin complexion. All right. So once again, you're going to have to tell me how mulatto men have privilege in the United States, because, every which way I look at it, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So, we mulattoes are not black. We need to stop claiming blackness. All right. We need to understand how genetics works. The one drop rule is scientifically, genetically false. Okay. If black genes were 100% dominant, that means mulattoes should look 100% black, but that's not the case. We also have certain pieces of our phenotype and certain pieces of our genotype that come from our European or Arab genetics. You see what I'm saying? We are a fusion. We are a 50% fusion, or a 60% 40% fusion of those two races simultaneously existing at once. That's what we are. All right? You can't mix an orange and an apple and think you're going to get a 100% apple as a genetic offspring. You can't mix an apple and an orange and think you're going to get 100% orange offspring. That's not how genetics works. That's not how genetics works. All right? You can't mix a grizzly bear and a koala bear and expect to get a 100% grizzly bear as your offspring, right? That's not how genetics works. You can't show me one example of a European person who has 1% black DNA that looks 100% black. Shit, you can't show me one European person who has 1% black DNA who looks half black. Show me a European person who has 1% black DNA who looks half black. Show me that. And I'll bet you any amount of cash you won't be able to find it, because Black America has sold us a lie. And as far as I'm concerned, the whole pro-black thing is just a grift. It's an illusion and it's a grift. The body, all right, the human body is only a physical avatar for our soul's consciousness. The human body is only a physical avatar for our soul's consciousness. So you being born with more melanin has nothing to do with your spiritual potential. You being born with more melanin has nothing to do with your spiritual potential, and it has nothing to do with your destiny or your life choices. Okay? Plain and simple. Because all the melanin is liquid carbon. All the melanin is liquid carbon. And carbon is not interdimensional. Carbon is physical. Carbon is physical matter. Carbon is physical matter. It's physical matter. It's not pure energy. Carbon is physical matter. It's not pure energy. Which means you can't take it with you to the spirit realm. You cannot take carbon with you to the spirit realm. So why do we have millions of colored people and millions of black, so-called black people, right, who are claiming just because you have melanin, that makes you some type of spiritual guru and that makes you some type of God. That's a bunch of malarkey. You cannot take carbon with you to the afterlife. You cannot take carbon with you to a different dimension. All right? Because carbon is physical matter. Physical matter is not interdimensional. Only the light orb of your soul's consciousness. Only the light orb of your soul's consciousness, which is etheric energy. Only that etheric energy, which is your soul's consciousness, only that is interdimensional. All right? All this physical matter, including the carbon, that shit is just nothing but part of this damn physical illusion. See what I'm saying? You got people out here actually worshiping melanin. And see, and I'm not gonna point fingers at people because I'm guilty. I was once guilty of that. But see, this is why the spiritual enlightening journey is so profound and it's so needed to keep evolving and to keep going and to keep evolving. You see what I'm saying? Because I was caught up in that. I once believed that, the more melanin you had, the more advanced you were and the more spiritual you were. And you know what I'm saying? When melanin is only carbon and carbon is just physical matter. See what I'm saying? And we are not this physical matter. We are spiritual beings that got trapped in these temporary physical avatars. All right? These temporary physical avatars, which is the physical body. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So, we mulattoes, we have to start coming together. We have to start supporting one another. We have to start claiming that term mulatto. The pro-black sector, they're trying to vilify and they're trying to demonize that term mulatto. But guess what? It's not happening over here. It's not happening over here. They want to say, oh, the mulatto means mule. It means mule and this and that. The etymology of the word mulatto, it actually has Arabic. It has Latin Arabic origins. It has Latin Arabic origins. All right. So it doesn't come from mule, right? You guys got to start learning real etymology here. All right. We are our own specific, genetic, unique, independent group. We are our own specific, independent, unique genetic group. All right. And we have to come together, start supporting each other and start behaving as such. Because there's a lot of mulattoes out there that are black identified. You see what I'm saying? They're being used as punching bags, as crash test dummies, as sacrificial lambs, and as savior figures for a group of people that don't even give a fuck about you. You mulattoes out there that are going into pro-blackness and sacrificing your livelihood, for pro-blackness. Do you you have no clue what you're getting yourself into. You're being used as a punching bag, as a crash test dummy, as a sacrificial lamb, and as a savior figure for a group of people that actually hate your damn guts, and a group of people that want to absorb you and want to wipe your identity out, all right, and want to claim your people's accolades. See what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And this is why we see in so many movies about lighter skinned black men, the light skinned black man is being portrayed by a black monoracial man, right? That's all part of the agenda to wipe out your mulatto identity, mulatto man. You guys better wake up. You guys better wake up. All right. Would you rather have your own cultural group that you can fall back on, that, as a support system? Do you want to be sovereign? Do you want to be sovereign with your own government, with your own currency, with your own resources, with your own land? You understand? Do you want your fucking women to respect you, mulatto man? Or do you want to be a fourth class citizen in Black America? Do you want to be a fourth class citizen in Black America, mulatto man? Are you comfortable with being in fourth place? Are you comfortable with being a fourth class citizen in Black America? That's it. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. I'm already linked up with a few mulatto men, and sometime between 2029 and 2030, we're really gonna start to make shit shake, for lack of better terms. All right, we're gonna get the ball rolling. We're gonna get the ball rolling legally and politically. All right, between 2029 and 2030, because I'm not a talker. See, I didn't get all of this support and all of these followers and get featured on all of these platforms, and my channel didn't get banned for 4 years for no reason. You understand? I didn't get banned from YouTube and banned from Vimeo and banned from JP Morgan Chase. I didn't get, silenced for no reason. I'm speaking truth here. I'm not just about talking, I'm about action as well. You see? So, all of that information is definitely something that, you guys need to start researching heavily, all right, to verify it yourself. There was so much that has changed and so much that I have learned in the past 4 years. And I'll say like somewhere in between 15 to 20% of the information that I used to teach, I don't even believe anymore. I'll say in between 15% and 20% of the information I used to teach, I don't even believe anymore. And see, that's the beautiful thing about time and the spiritual evolution and how we progress in life and how we mature in life and how we grow mentally and spiritually. You see, there's so much, that I learned, as it regards to human genetics. I was even able to find out that the earth does not have an iron core. The earth does not have an iron core. All right. They say that the iron core melts or it burns. They say the iron core melts at a temperature of 8,000 to 10,800 degrees Fahrenheit. They say the Earth's iron core, they say it's a solid iron core that is burning between 8,000 degrees Fahrenheit and 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But that is alchemically and, scientifically impossible. All right. Because iron, right? Iron starts to melt at 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Iron starts to melt at 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. But they're saying the iron core of the earth is burning in between 8,000 and 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So how in the hell is iron burning at a temperature of 3 or 4 times its melting point, and the solid iron core hasn't completely melted yet? How is it that the Earth's solid iron core is burning at 8,000 to 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's not completely melted yet? I just showed you that iron melts at 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. So if it melts at 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit, if it starts to melt at that temperature, how is solid iron withstanding a temperature of 3 to 4 times its melting point without being completely liquefied? How is the solid iron core still intact when it is burning at a temperature of 3 or 4 times its melting point? How is the iron core still intact when it's burning at a temperature of 3 or 4 times its melting point? It should have been completely liquefied billions of years ago. The so-called solid iron core should have been completely liquefied billions of years ago, all right? According to simple math and simple chemistry. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So if there's no solid core inside of the earth, what's inside of the earth? It's a inner sun. There's an inner sun. There's an inner sun, right? Not an iron core. There's an inner sun. The earth is hollow. The earth is mostly hollow. And inside of it is an inner sun, not an iron core. This also means that the energy field around the earth is not magnetic. The energy field around the earth is not magnetic. All right? There is no magnetic energy field around the earth. Actually, and magnetism is the weakest force in the universe. Magnetism is the weakest force in the universe. All right? All right? So the energy field around the earth is etheric and static. The energy field around the earth is etheric and static. Right? It's not magnetic. 95% of all known elements are non-magnetic. 95% of all known elements are non-magnetic. The strongest and the most ancient elements and the most natural elements are non-magnetic. The strongest, most ancient, and purest elements are non-magnetic. The physical universe is mostly carbon. The physical universe is mostly carbon and hydrogen. Both of those elements are non-magnetic. All right? Water is diamagnetic. It's not ferromagnetic. Water is diamagnetic. It's not ferromagnetic, which means water is repelled by magnetic forces. It's not attracted to magnetic forces. Water is repelled by magnetic forces. And all other elements, especially carbon, all other elements are not magnetic at all. Have you ever put a magnet up to a damn tree and saw the magnet stick to a tree? Have you ever put a magnet up to a tree and saw the magnet stick to a tree? Have you put a magnet up to dirt? Did the magnet stick to the dirt? Have you put a magnet on mud and did the magnet stick to mud? Did you put a magnet on sand? Did the magnet stick to sand? So why is everybody saying that Earth is magnetic? Do you go ahead and put a magnet on your body? Put a magnet on your body. Put a magnet on your body and see if the magnet sticks to your body. More than likely, it's not going to stick to your body because humans are non-magnetic. We don't have a magnetic field around us. All right? The field around us is etheric and static, just like the Earth. Etheric and static. So you want to know the chain of energy in the universe, right? The chain, the power chain of energy in the universe, it goes from dark energy to etheric energy. That etheric energy produces radiation. So it goes from dark energy to etheric energy. From that etheric energy, you get radiation. From that radiation, you get fire and electricity. And then from that electricity, you get little spurts of magnetism. But magnetism can only be sustained in the weakest, most unnatural elements. Magnetism can only be sustained in the weakest and most unnatural elements, right? Magnetism is the weakest force in the fucking universe. Why do they want us so focused on it? To take our attention away from the real power source, which is the ether and the dark energy. All right? Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So this is, some of, what I've learned in the past 4 years, that I've been off of YouTube. I learned that shape-shifting is very real. And if you don't believe in shape-shifting, all you have to do is observe the praying mantis species. All you have to do is observe the praying mantis species. They are capable of much more than just changing their color. The praying mantis species is able to literally rearrange its molecular structure to perfectly mimic the color, shape, and size of their environment. The color, shape, size, texture. The color, size, shape, and texture of their environment. They are able to rearrange their molecular structure to perfectly imitate the size, shape, color, and texture of their environment. That's called shape-shifting, folks. That's a little bit more than camouflage. That's shape-shifting, right? The praying mantis is a shape-shifting species. Plain and simple. Plain and simple, right? And I've showed this all on my Instagram. So if you want to see all of the information that I put out to the public between 2021 and now, go check out my Instagram, RFG underscore chosen one, the number one. RFG underscore chosen one, the number one. All right. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So this is, basically everything I had to say as far as, an update for my followers on YouTube. Yes, I'm back. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back on YouTube, but I will not be putting out videos consistently. I'll only be putting out videos maybe in between 4 and 6 times a month. If that. The only way I'm coming back to YouTube full time is if YouTube allows me to monetize my videos, or if my Patreon reaches 350 subscribers again. If my Patreon reaches anything at or above 350 subscribers, I'll go to doing the YouTube thing full time. All right? If you guys support my Patreon and get me to somewhere in between 350 and 400 paid members, all right, I'll come back to YouTube full time. If not, like I said, you'll be lucky to get maybe like four videos a month on YouTube. All right. And I'll just be using YouTube as a platform to promote my businesses and to show myself traveling. Like I said, if my Patreon does not get to 350 paid members, all this YouTube is going to be for is just me spreading, promotion for my businesses and me showing myself traveling. Period, point blank. If you want me to go back to spreading, real wisdom on YouTube full time, you guys are going to have to support the Patreon. Flat out. It is what it is. So that's all I had to say on this topic. I hope I was able to answer a lot of people's questions, with this video. Because I'm pro mulatto, that does not mean that I'm anti-black. Simply because I'm pro mulatto. That does not mean that I'm anti-white because I'm pro mulatto. That does not mean that I'm anti-Hispanic because I'm pro mulatto or anti-Asian. No. Me being pro mulatto means that I have the wherewithal and the common sense to identify with my genetic group on this planet. That means I have the common sense, the intelligence, and the wherewithal and the self-awareness to identify with my real genetic group on this planet. Plain and simple. And I want sovereignty. I want resources and sovereignty and independence for my genetic group on this planet. That's all. That's all. That doesn't mean I hate, any other group at all. All right. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So with that being said, all right, it's been 4 years, folks, and I'm back. I'm back, man. I'm back. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, very crazy times we're living in. Very crazy times we're living in. All right. So yeah, I'll probably put out another video in the next maybe 2 or 3 days. Be on the lookout for it. I appreciate everyone who supports RFG movement, who supports Atlantean movement. I got another movement. Basically, this movement that I have is for specifically mulattoes, right? It's basically called, the golden jaguars, man. The golden jaguars, man. The golden jaguar. All right. That clothing line and that movement, that is specifically for mulattoes, right? RFG is for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Atlantean, you know what I'm saying? That's for, so-called Black Americans and everybody who has an Atlantean mindset, but specifically Black Americans, that's Atlantean. But RFG is for everybody. And then the Golden Jaguar, that's gonna be for the mulatto. That's gonna be for us mulattoes. So yeah, be on the lookout for those clothing lines, because I'm gonna have a new shipment of those clothing lines very soon. All right, so I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone who tunes in and supports this channel and supports the movement. As well as supporting the Patreon. And I will be back very shortly, so stay tuned. All right, peace and love. Stay safe out there. All right, stay safe out there, because it's getting crazy in the States. All right, I will be back. All right, peace out. It's the Chosen One. I'm out.